everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies, featuring the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire Outpost Cookbook. The roasted chokeroot last week was, okay, I guess. So this week we're on to the entree, fried Endorian Tip-Yip. First up, let's tell the story. Tip-Yip is a type of hen that is commonly raised by the Ewoks on the forest moon of Endor as a source of eggs and meat. Though it ain't all that different from the domestic fowl found on countless other worlds, I find Tip-Yip to be particularly juicy and flavorful. Plus, when it's oven roasted and served over a bed of fresh vegetables and local grains, that little bird is about as healthy as you can get. But if you don't mind your Tip-Yip flying a slightly less wholesome path, you can always bread it, fry it up, and cover it in warm herb gravy. My variation is dripping with natural flavor, making it one of my biggest sellers at nearly every spaceport I visit. Maybe it isn't the traditional way the Ewoks cook up their feathered friend, but if you ask me, there's plenty of room on Endor for more than one type of Tip-Yip. Well, we'll find out what we think of this recipe. The ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. In order to make this recipe, we've got a little more than 2 large boneless, skinless chicken breasts. Oil for frying, I'm using vegetable oil. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, a pinch of cayenne pepper. I'm going to use half of this 1/4 teaspoon. An egg, 2 tablespoons of buttermilk, a batch of mashed chokeroot or mashed potatoes. I'm going to be making instant mashed potatoes. A cup of cooked mixed vegetables, such as peas, carrots, and corn, which I'm going to heat this up in the oven most likely. There should be an easy way to do that. Oh yeah. That should be fine. And a batch of Gurreck Gravy. Now for those of you who are wondering, well, what in the world is Gurreck Gravy? That's what's going to bring us to these ingredients over here. So to make the Gurreck Gravy, we need 1/4 cup of fresh parsley leaves and a tablespoon of fresh green herbs such as thyme, savory, and marjoram. I'm just going to use thyme for all of that. A pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, half a cup of olive oil, and a 1/4 cup of chicken stock. As our first order of business, let's move into the kitchen and start putting the Gurreck Gravy together. I've got a pot of water boiling because I'll need that, in case you're wondering what the sizzling is. I've got a pot of water boiling because I'll need that to put together the mashed potatoes. For the Gurreck Gravy, let's go ahead and tell the story for that one before we start into this recipe. Ewoks seem like the cuddliest creatures in the galaxy, but when they're not singing and dancing, they're usually showing off their fierce hunting skills. These furry forest dwellers are experts at crafting weapons and traps to help them bring home some big game, and on Endor, there isn't much game bigger than the Gurreck. When the Ewoks take down one of these fierce-fanged predators, they celebrate by cooking up a feast, which usually includes this rich, green gravy made with fresh Endorian herbs. Luckily, there isn't actually any Gurreck in this savory sauce, so you don't have to be a skilled hunter to whip it up. Use it to smother your fried Tip-Yip, page 97, a juicy Endorian fowl, and I guarantee it'll have you shouting yub-nub, whatever that means. And God, I don't know what that means. Something in the Star Wars galaxy. Anyway, moving back over to putting the gravy together once I put the bookmark in. We're going to take everything except for the chicken stock. So we're going to start off with our thyme. The recipe as written wants you to use an immersion blender, but I don't own an immersion blender, so I'm going to use my food processor for this instead. So the thyme can hit the bin. We want a pinch of salt. I brought the salt right here. Okay, that's a little more than a pinch, but it'll do here. Let's see, we want the 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, which is right here. We'll pour it over the top. Okay. Right, that needs to go. That fit up here barely. Let me put it up. Won't fit there. Okay. I was trying to get that somewhere where it's going to be out of my way. So the apple cider vinegar just went in, and we need the half cup of olive oil. So here's the olive oil. We'll go ahead and pour that in. Okay. And look at that. I remembered to put a blade in the food processor this time. Right, that can go back up. Actually, we'll dash in a little bit of prepackaged parsley. Let me see if I've got an open thing of parsley or if I'm just going to crack this one open and be done with it. I think I'm just going to be cracking this thing of parsley from the looks of it. Okay, I can deal with that. We'll just sprinkle a little bit in there. That's a bit more than a little bit, but we can work with it. And that can all go back up. That's not going to close. That'll close. Okay, so we wanted everything except for the chicken stock in right now. So we're going to put this in place. And if you remember, the food processor is actually a little bit on the loud side, so you probably don't want to be wearing headphones in case you are. Here's your 5-second warning before I start the food processor. So we want to blend that so we want to mix that, we want to puree that until it's smooth with no large flakes of herb remaining. So here's another pulse on that. We'll open it and check it real quick. Hit it again. Okay, I think everything looked good on the last check there. So I'm going to tip that down, and now we want to add the chicken stock in. Hopefully I've got enough here because I need a 1/4 cup of chicken stock. Oh, delightful. We've got 2 levels of seal on the chicken stock, and it doesn't want to come completely out. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think we'll have plenty here. Oop. That is a lot more than a 1/2 cup, but once again, we can deal with it. I'm going to grab a spatula here, though, and scrape down the sides of the food processor. And look at that, a Star Wars themed spatula. Okay. Sounds like the water's starting to boil. That was kind of a risk anyway, so let me give that a quick cleanup. The way I had it turned, I kind of knew something was going to happen there. Okay, I think that's probably the best we're going to be able to do with that. So now I want to blend this until it's very smooth. Once again, here's another 5-second warning before I turn the food processor back on. Did I? Wait, that's not locked in place. There we go. That should be locked in place now. Let me give that a quick look on the inside. Whoa. Water is definitely starting to boil. I want to wait, let that come to a rolling boil before I grab that for the potatoes. I'm not going to turn that upside down like I did before. We'll give it another couple of pulses before I declare it good. Give that a quick look. I think it's about as good as it's going to get there. So I'm going to put the food processor out of the way. And now I'm going to, basically what I want to do now is I'm actually going to let the water boil so I can make the potatoes, because I need that burner empty for what's coming next. So we're going to pause the camera and take a little bit of a small break. If you're a regular viewer of Mystical Munchies, you've seen a few of my oil episodes and you know what this chain means. It means we've got oil that we're heating up. In this case, we're setting it over medium heat and we're waiting for the oil to heat up to 350. While we wait for the oil to heat up, we're going to go ahead and prepare the chicken. So, the next thing we're going to do is we've got 2 pie plates here. Let me just make sure it's heating over the right burner. Looks like we got the right burner there. But the temperature is not moving on. Okay, it's starting to move now. So in one pie plate, we're going to prepare the dry ingredients. So we're going to start off with the flour. We need 1.5 cups of that. One, 2, and 3. That can go back up. The teaspoon of salt, which we have right here. We don't need the teaspoon for anything else, I don't think. Nope. We don't need the salt for anything either, so that can go back up. 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, which I've got the pepper right here. Put that right up there. And the cayenne pepper. The smallest measuring spoon I've got here. Here's the cayenne pepper. The smallest cup I've got is the 1/4 teaspoon. That should be enough of a pinch. Okay. And then we'll whisk all of that together. Okay. Looks good there. Then in the other bowl, then in the other pie plate, we're going to heat up the. Then in the other pie plate, we're going to beat the egg and the buttermilk together. So it's an egg, which I've got right here. So I'm in the other pie plate that's just in the extreme of shot. And that can hit the garbage. And our 2 tablespoons of buttermilk. Okay. I'll move the camera just slightly so I can get a fork to beat the egg and the buttermilk with. Okay. All right, so that's all good there. Next, we're going to be dipping the chicken into the egg and then into the flour mixture. They say working with 1 piece at a time, but this chicken's so small, we can probably work with several pieces at a time. Assuming it wants to turn for us, which is not completely a sure bet. All right, then we'll dip this in the flour mixture. Okay. Normally I wouldn't bore you guys with doing a step like this on camera, but because we're waiting for the oil to come up to temperature, we'll do a couple more pieces of the chicken. Because I'm going to get to a point where once the oil hits temperature, we can immediately drop the chicken in and start boiling it and start frying it in the oil. Because we are only at 142 degrees right now. We've got a long way to go on that. So that's the reason why we're kind of breaking from tradition a little bit, because normally we don't take this long watching oil climb up to temperature in real time. Okay, that's probably plenty of chicken that we can go into for the oil, right? Or for once the oil's ready. So we'll give my hands a quick wash off. And then as we're working through the assembly, we're going to have a rough assembly line going here. So we've got chicken going into the buttermilk and egg mixture, then into the flour mixture. So that's the assembly line we're going to keep up with. While you wait for the oil to heat up, we're going to move back over to the table for a minute because I got a delivery in earlier this afternoon that we're going to go ahead and unbox while we wait for the oil to heat up. The oil, while we're unboxing this, is at 162 degrees and climbing. Anyway, this is a delivery from Cool Mini or not. This should be part of the Cthulhu Death May Die Kickstarter. So let's crack this open and see what's in here. You can probably guess what's in here by just the sheer size of this delivery. And I know if I position the box just right, you guys will get spoiled on what's in here. So I'm trying to turn it in a direction that you guys won't get spoiled by what's in here. Alright, there we are. And we've got a whole mess of cardboard in here. That's always fun. That can hit the bin. By bin with cardboard, I mean the recycling bin. And what we're greeted by in here, actually I still need a knife for a second, because I need to cut this out. Oops. Sorry for that noise. But what we're greeted by is the Relay Rising expansion, the Relay Rising episode of Cthulhu Death May Die. Relay Rising, epic episode. Things went wrong. Very wrong. We realized that we weren't going to stop Cthulhu from entering our world, so we entered his. Or rather, we're both stuck between worlds in a nameless void, with gates to other places. We knew it was a one-way trip. We just want to take him out before the end comes. That which is not dead can eternal lie, and with strange aeons, even death may die. So that's all the components in here. We'll get everything else out. We've got Cthulhu's wings in here. Got to cut some of this packing tape up. Oh, brother. Okay. There we are. That was an adventure and a half to unpack. And then we can lift out without hitting the chandelier phoenix. Sorry for the delay, but there is the giant behemoth itself. The giant Cthulhu statue, and the oil is at 194 and still climbing. So we've still got a ways to go on that. And then the wings go like that. And it should be about like so. So that is the giant Cthulhu statue fully assembled for Cthulhu Death May Die. Believe it or not, he's the game board. So we may do a separate unboxing on the Relay Rising episode, but that remains to be seen. Anyway, we've now got a new visitor on this week's episode of Mystical Munchies. Welcome to the collection, Cthulhu. Now, we'll move back into the kitchen once the temperature starts to get a little bit closer, and we should be ready for the oil at that point. The oil is just about to temperature right now, so we're going to watch the last 10 degrees in real time. That was a behemoth of an unboxing, that's for sure. I was having some problems getting some of the plastic package down, but we got all that sorted out now. So, yep, we had to add Cthulhu Death May Die. We had to add Relay Rising to the Cthulhu Death May Die collection. So the oil right now is at 342 and still climbing. 343. Like I said, we're gonna watch the last 5 degrees here. Well, it was 10 when I turned the camera back on, but now it's the last 5 degrees in real time. So once again, this is probably about your 30-second warning, I would say, in case you're wearing headphones, because the next beep sound you're gonna hear is the temperature probe coming up to temperature. So just be aware of that. $347, $349. There we are. That can zip it. The probe can move into the dishes. And now we're going to start adding the chicken from the flour mixture into the oil, preferably without splashing myself. And we can probably go one or two more pieces in there. Let's go one more piece in there. Okay. Now I'll move the move another few pieces into flour ready to go. So now we want to let that cook for about 5 to 10 minutes, flipping occasionally until it's a nice dark golden brown color. So we'll watch, as always, we'll watch the first batch cook in real time. But then I'll turn the camera off so I can do the rest of it off camera. Mostly so you guys get the idea of how everything's supposed to look. Okay. I will have another step in this recipe because I'm using a bag of prepackaged frozen veggies that I will need to heat up in the microwave. And that'll also be one thing that I'll mention once I finish washing my hands. I'll probably mention it when we go over to the taste test, but that is one other thing I could see potentially coloring how I feel about the recipe on the taste test, is because I'm not using fresh veggies, since I don't really like the highly soggy veggies. Let me give this chicken a quick look. Okay. Alright, still needs at least a couple more minutes. And I've got a plate lined with paper towel already that I'm going to remove the chicken to dry when it's ready to come off. So we'll just keep an eye on this in real time. Give this another quick look. Give that around about another minute or two and then it should be ready to come out. Take another quick look. Alright. We'll bring the paper towel lined plate over to the oil rather than bringing the chicken from the oil to the plate. So I think we're just about ready to take this first batch off. Okay, I think we're good to take this off. So we'll take these nuggets out. Then I'll put the next few in. We'll probably go one more in there. I think I overestimated. That should be plenty. So once, as usual, I'm going to turn the camera off so I can fry the rest of these up off camera. We'll come back when all of the chicken is done and we're ready for the next step once I finish wiping my hands off. So now I'm going to shut the camera off and we'll come back when the chicken's all done. The last of the chicken just came off of the oil, so now we're going to prepare to serve this dish. The way we're going to do that is we're going to take the mixed veggies that we cooked in the microwave earlier. Ow! Holy cow. Grab a pair of scissors so I can cut the bag open. We're going to pour that in with the potatoes. That can hit the bin. Then we're going to mix this up. Trying to get it as mixed in as we can. Come on. Alright. I think that's as good as we're going to get there. So, now that we've stirred that together, we're going to add a dollop of this to each dish. So we're going to spoon some of this out. This is only supposed to make 2 servings, so bear that in mind as we're putting the recipe together here. Then we want some of the gravy around the edge, so we're going to need the gravy that we put together much earlier in the recipe. I'm going to grab a spoon out so I can make another spoon out so I can mix some of the liquid in a little bit more. And of course, I can't get a... There we are. I'm mixing up a little bit of gravy off camera, but it's still very liquidy. I am not crazy in the slightest about that. But I also can't get the... There we go. I was going to say I was having problems getting the bowl off the food processor. This wants to go around the edge. Okay. We'll bring the potatoes out of the way to bring it in shot. Then we're going to then we're going to sprinkle some of the nuggets over top. And since we need to serve this basically straight away, I'm going to wash my hands. And then we are going to move over to my desk for the taste test. I've got a serving of the Tip-Yip right here. This is supposed to be dinner tonight, so no pressure on this. Looks like looks like we can probably dip a piece of chicken in some of the potatoes and in the gravy. So let's see what I think of it. We'll try to get a little more focus on the gravy here. And we'll get some of the potato mixture as well. It actually doesn't taste too bad, all things considered. Like I mentioned, I usually don't go for frozen vegetables like that because I don't like the very soggy veggies that a lot of the pre-processed stuff comes with. So it's actually not bad, all things considered, but that is another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week we'll be making the dessert, Zoochberry Surprise. As for the games, tomorrow we're playing Space Corp 2025 to 2300 from GMT. And Wednesday, we're playing Terraforming Mars, the dice game. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.
Thank you.